I hope you enjoy my quirky ideas. I was thinking that normally it's Facebook that takes, or sometimes YouTube does, and for some reason it doesn't allow you to take thumbnails anymore. I was just thinking as well. I normally say nice lights and report weather and that kind of thing, but yesterday we had a nice blue sky day, but for some reason today it's gone rubbish again, to put it politely. It's really cloudy and that kind of thing, and it's really cold. I was hoovering partly just to keep warm, actually. But for me, I get cold very quickly. I don't know if other people feel cold here in the UK, but anyway, I was another thing is I was wondering whether to cover stuff about autism and stroke or ADHD because of my use of alliterations. I think autism, April, April for autism, and stroke or ADHD, which obviously both start with A as well, just like April. But and then I thought I could do the go back to the Asian empowerment stuff and all that kind of thing on in May and or June. But I had these plans and ideas, so I thought I'd cover them for today, and I'm hoping I can do some for autism and or ADHD this month, and also in August, and neurodiversity more generally in November. I suppose special needs September. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and I'd love to read your suggestions on my ideas on how to empower people from Asia. As per usual, I'm thinking of a certain theme. In this case, for each day, I normally think of a certain theme. So I'm hoping to like. Sorry, trying to remember my train of thought. Asian Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. But yeah, I'd love to know how you would empower people from across Asia and that kind of thing. And on that note, these are pointers 1 to 10 as per usual. And again, please do share your suggestions. If you'd be so kind, please like and share the video. I'd really appreciate that. And if you're able to, and you'd be so kind, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is free after all. And I hope you'll get involved in the discussion. I also say, like, if I ever get to monetize these videos, in this case, I will donate to projects that empower people across Asia, whether that's women and girls or people with autism or ADHD or related conditions or startups or whatever. And on that note, number one, I'd love to support startups across Asia. I'd love to look at how to support them. So how can banks like the Asian Development Bank and banks in and outside of Asia and across and around Asia and also around the world, and those from the diaspora can help startups with like funding, advice, or whatever it might be that could help startups. Well, they might need the money, but I think advice goes a long way as well. Sometimes maybe even doing more with less money. You won't need as much. I'd also love to see Asia unite together and have a joint collective sovereign wealth fund, which invests in things like, amongst other things, Italian soccer, Celtic FC, which we have to come to, and each other, and possibly Africa and other developing nations, and look at how they can network together, but mainly to empower Asia, and again, from a selfish point of view, to invest in town for or soccer, whatever you call it, and Celtic, which would not be quite as selfish, but amongst other things. And moving on to point number 2, I would love to see what Asian nations could learn about each other and what they could teach the rest of the world and what they could learn from the rest of the world, from each other and from Africa and Latin America and other parts of the world, and how they could connect and network. For instance, looking at what they have in common with Africa, how they were colonized and things like that, for instance, and emerging market economies, working with Latin America and other places and that kind of thing. Maybe even POC, people of colour working together. And I also hope, when I talk about like startups, sole traders and that kind of thing, I hope also to help Asian businesses to grow from the startup stage to SMEs and maybe even bigger, to be as successful as possible and that kind of thing. Learning from each other, teaching each other, mentorship, having mentorship and being role models for each other and things like that, and having Asian networks around the world, even though I'm only part Asian. But moving on, number 3, as I say, free support for businesses, or at least support on like low interest loans. So let's say a small Asian business, let's say they try and start a business called micro or whatever, just name just came to my mind. For instance, if an Asian entrepreneur tries to start a business like that, they can get the funding and advice and guidance, as they help them to start and then also to grow and help more Asians to start their own businesses and to be empowered in a range of fields. I also hope to promote libertarianism across Asia. I hope people from across Asia and the diaspora to learn about libertarianism. I wonder what Asians could do if they united together and supported each other, including Asians themselves. But as I say, I love to promote libertarianism across Asia and amongst Asians around the world. To find out and learn about libertarianism, I hope to encourage Asians to read about libertarianism on Google and listen to it on YouTube and things like that. I won't go into too much detail on what it is right now, but I encourage Asians and those of Asian descent and people generally to find out about libertarianism. And moving on, number 4, I hope to promote peace across Asia. I suppose this is not just for a Saturday, just like point 3 might not have been, I guess. But again, I know I like to focus on different themes for each day, date, and whatever, day, date, and month and whatnot, and maybe even in different years. But let's say for each day of the week. But yeah, I guess this would be a more general thing. I'd love to see an Asian alliance, which I talked about recently, and I've talked about in the past, coming together to promote peace and unity across Asia. And to prevent conflict, like bring together China, India, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and the rest of Asia to sort of say they're not going to fight each other. And if they do have divisions and disagreements, the Asian alliance would hopefully come together to sit them down and bring together diplomats and invite as many people from across Asia as possible, as many diplomats, delegates, politicians, entrepreneurs, and people like that, change and policy makers, and people in powerful positions and whatnot, to come together to discuss what are the best ways to empower Asia and unite it and that kind of thing, and limit, or hopefully even end, if I'm really dreaming, conflict across Asia and amongst Asians, and work with the diaspora, which I hope to come to. I think that covers everything for point number 4, so I'm going to move on to point number 5. Promoting Asian products and helping Asian individuals and nations with their ambitions, with their aims and ambitions. Promoting Asian tea, which is just regular tea, but people to try, like chai, Indian tea, Chinese tea, products from Japan, China, and all over Asia. People from Asia itself and from the diaspora, and those with an interest in Asian culture and tradition and that kind of thing, to try Asian products. And as I say, I love to support Asian ambition, generally fund Asian ambitions, and also from Asia and around the world, and also again see how they can connect with the diaspora, especially in Asia itself as well. Maybe inviting from the diaspora to Asia and that kind of thing, and discussing different Asian nations' ambitions, like how can India become a $5 to $10 trillion economy ASAP, or even £5 trillion economy. What Asian nations can learn from each other, how they can help each other to grow, how they can limit, as they limit divisions, not be jealous of each other, and be proud of each other's success. I think it'd be interesting if people from China were proud of any successes by Indians, and vice versa. Similar with Japan, I was going to say Tokyo then, Taiwan, Thailand, Korea, and the rest of Asia. Somehow, as they somehow limiting divisions. And it's a terrible situation was in Iran at the moment, but yeah, maybe even trying to limit that conflict, and like nations like Malaysia and India and Indonesia, an important place like that, could look at how to create diplomacy to stop wars like that, or at least limit them as much as possible, ideally. And again, support Asian ambitions as individuals and as nations. Number 6, supporting Italian soccer. I did decide not to wear my scarf and flag this time. I think I'm going to leave that till May or June, even, or whatever. I think these national days in June the 2nd or something. So, but yeah, as I want to focus more on Asia. But I talk about how I'd love for Asians to follow and support, sponsor, and invest into, and maybe even donate to. Double question mark the last one, but I'd certainly love for them to to sponsor, invest into, support, and follow Serie A and Italian and soccer generally, um, and invite Italians, including young Italians from like schools and junior teams, to come to Italy, especially like Juventus or Italian teams generally, and younger players. I think of Juventus because it means youth in English, to go to train across Asia. I know Inter Milan and Juventus are rivals, but because I'm a fan of Italian soccer more generally, um, I look to see that. But I'm actually wearing the French tops on my copy, but I thought of an idea like Italy to steal ideas from France. So, as a side note, one thing about Asia is they have a hard work ethic, like unlike me. So I know I'm only part Asian, as I say. I think Anglo-Indians and other Asians maybe not the same, maybe don't in better English have the same work ethic as actual Asians, full-blooded Asians. On the subject of English, like, a bit rich of me to say, but to learn English, because I think that's a great way to, even though I'm not that patriotic, as you can probably tell from my videos, although I wish everyone well, but it's a great way to communicate and run businesses all over the world and that kind of thing, to do business and get jobs or whatever. Everything's called jobs or businesses, or whatever. Number 7, I say many hands make light work, working together to make life easier for each other. Also, I talk about Italian football and also Celtic, Celtic, as it happens. But yeah, also same sort of thing when I talk about Italian soccer. I dream that more Asians will sponsor, invest into, support, and or follow Celtic as well. It does have a Japanese connection, and we've had a few. I don't know why I say that speaking of, but had a few players from Korea as well. One from India a while back as well. But I love for Celtic to have more academies across Asia as well as investment from Asians, sponsorship, and all sorts of things like that. I'll say academies across Asia, Malaysia, India, Indonesia, South Africa. Singapore, China, Japan, all over Asia. We already have links in Japan, and I love for Asian sovereign wealth funds to invest in it. Something I say. Also, I fear, if I'm honest, sometimes I fear, as I've said in the past, like God is not on my side, if I'm honest, but I hope God will prove me wrong. But if God did hear my prayers, I feel like God has ignored and unanswered like at least 2 or 3, if not 4 or more of my prayers in my life. But I guess you can't always get what you want. Maybe God will say being selfish or greedy or whatever. But I wish that God would bless Asia somehow, like with good weather, less illnesses and diseases, natural disasters, or things like that, like miraculous blessings. I wish that God would bless Asians, especially in Asia itself, from a biased point of view. I'm only part Asian, I'd say, with miraculous blessings. Number 8, I think it'd be cool if, again, with the divisions in Asia, I'd love for, and amongst Asian communities, I'd love for them to come together instead, and Central Asian nations to host events which bring Asians together, including those from the diaspora. Again, I have to come to that in more details a bit later, especially in part 3 and 4, or at least in part 3, hopefully part 4 as well, I guess. But yeah, I'd love for maybe even POC to be more united, more generally, like improving relations between Black and Asian people, Asians and Latin Americans, Latinos, Hispanics, and groups like that, other POC minorities and whatnot, and Asians to talk more about positive things rather than negative things about each other. Like, it'd be cool to hear, I think it would be cool to hear from people from China about what they like about India and vice versa against China and Japan and whatnot. Again, limiting divisions and promoting peace and love instead of war and hate and that kind of thing. If I could, I would not hate anyone or anything. Easier said than done. Number 9, I love to promote Asian poets, artists, and writers, and Asian projects and ventures and adventures more generally, tourism, Asia, and things like that. But I'd say the main theme for the Saturdays I think of specifically is like startups and things like that across Asia. And number 10, I'd love to support and empower young people, especially. One thing about, I suppose, African and Asian culture, or even cultural tradition, or whatever more generally, is they say respect your elders, but that's my least favourite saying. I love to support younger people for various reasons. One, because I think they've got their life ahead of them, they've got the future ahead of them. 2, So I remember when I was young, a bit of a kid at heart anyway, all you want to do is have fun, and I don't think people should stop that. Although I think it's got to be in a safe environment, so to an extent they have to stop it. But I think people should allow younger people to live more, have more fun, and that kind of thing. Especially younger people. And number three, I guess, is to address the balance. I'm doing a list with my list of that. So like other people say, respect your elders. I like to say support younger people more. I guess depends what you mean by respect. I guess. I would ask why should we have to respect elders, even though I'm old, for myself, which shows I'm not that biased. But I think that's the reason why I'd love to support young people. I say they've got a future ahead of them, and that kind of thing. And I think younger people should remember when they get older, like how did other people treat them. So I think like people should treat their parents how their parents treated them. Um, if you feel they hit you for no reason, I think it's probably fair to do the same back. If they put a roof over your head, I think you should do the same back. If they took things away from you, I think you should do the same thing back. If they feed you, I think you should do the same thing back, and that kind of thing. I know I'm waffling as usual, but yeah, I think there's something else I was going to say. I'm sure. But yeah, I'd rather support younger people, as I say, because they have the future ahead of them. And that kind of thing. But I would ask the question, like, why should you respect elders? So there's probably a few things that I often wonder, like, if I, for instance, if I grew up in Asia, would they say you're too lazy? I suppose they say that anyway, but most people say that anyway. But especially in Asia, like people say a lot of times they work and have no fun, and that kind of thing. I always like to have fun. And another thing is they say respect your elders and that kind of thing. So there are a few things that I don't like about Asia too much, which I'll include without giving too much weight in point number 13, hopefully all being well. And on that note, I'm out, and peace and love.